Hello, my name is Brandy Hofer, your host of the Color Me Happy podcast. I am so glad you're here. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. If you want more weekly content just like this, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. We cannot wait for you to be a part of our community here, and you can join our free community on Facebook. It is about empowering your community through your creativity, and we want you to be there. I am Brandy. I am a Canadian artist, author, mother, and educator, obviously podcaster, because I'm here chatting with you right now. We talk about on the podcast everything from scaling your business from 0 to 6 figures, motherhood, lots of women's health, very unfiltered conversations there. We have on some extremely amazing guests. I don't even know how I talked to them really, but they said yes. And we want to talk about we want to empower you. We want to talk about those things. We want to empower you to reach out to people who you never thought you'd talk to, ask for opportunities that you never thought you'd get, because we want you to see your everyday as extraordinary, just as we have. We shifted from being like this ho-hum kind of victim complaining kind of person with terrible money mindset, really bad, hiding like money mindset books under my, like waddling around pregnant, hiding my mindset book, money mindset book, being ashamed of wanting money. But the thing about that is that if you want to grow, if you want to expand, if you want the life that you live, that's one of the things you need that will help you along your way. And then you'll inspire others to do the same. It'll be a really cool journey. So come along with us, and we cannot wait. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out on Instagram at Brandy Hofer Studios anytime. I'm happy to chat. That's where I sit, and I'm so glad you're here, and I cannot wait for you to dive in. So give us a like and subscribe. I even got fireworks at the end of that. Success! This is the video I'm going to use. Hey, welcome to Color Me Happy podcast. My name is Brandy Hofer, your host. Thank you so much for being here. I am so excited about today's episode. I know you'll love it, and I know you'll have so much to take away, because these women share so much information. They're super honest and open about their journey and how they ask for opportunities. And I think that when people follow their passions and their creativity and those like intuitive inklings that are calling to you, really cool things happen in life. And very cool things have happened to these two ladies with their journeys in the DIY realm, and they have this really cool community. And I'm so honored that they asked me to be a part of this particular project that you will have to check out on social media. They have really big hearts, and they're coming from the right place. And yeah, it's just such a cool, fun episode. I can't wait for you to check it out. Be sure to share all your adventures and how you follow your passions in our Color Me Happy free community on Facebook. The link is in the notes to join. And just keep up with us at Brandy Hofer Studios on Instagram. Feel free to reach out anytime. We're happy to chat and check out what we're up to. And you can check out this particular project that we were talking about in this episode, and there'll be some crazy before and afters and a story that will pull on your heartstrings for sure on why the project came into fruition. And of course you'll get to see the final, which I'm super jealous of, because we're recording this before and we were just talking about it happening, but you actually get to go on your devices and check out what did happen. So I'm a bit jealous of you in the future. So check that out again at Brandy Hofer Studios. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you Jenna and Shavonne for taking the time to come on and chat with us today. Make sure you go and follow their accounts, which you will, because they do some really cool stuff. It's very inspiring. So, and that's what we're all about. We're sharing creative joy. That should be like a tagline or hook somewhere. We spread. No, I'm pretty sure other people have used it. That's okay. All right, I'm gonna go. I'm rambling. All right.
All the symbols are.
Is it just Google Meet that does that, or
no?
is
It's Apple,
iPhone, Apples.
So I'm just all my podcasts. I'm just gonna be like, yes. It's done with me. It's like you've outdone your hearts. Awesome. So thank you for being here. I'm so excited. And let's talk about how we met, and then we can like dive in. We'll get to the end of that story at the end, because I want to hear both of your kind of like how you started in this and how it's going. So we met because of my friend Jenna Shavonne, right? And do you want to talk about the project you're doing with Janelle? So she's prairie style at home. Oh my gosh, there's so many images that, or so many accounts on Instagram, and I'm sure you have both. Hard to like.
We call her Janelle the paint lady. She's Janelle the paint lady in my home because she throws paint at everything.
Prairie style home, and she's got a very viral account with throwing paint a lot. And I think it all started with her like redo your pantry door video, and I'm so proud of her. And it was cool to like hook up with someone who's, you know, working from home and like doing the same things as you and have like the same big ambition. So how did you meet Janelle?
I initially met Janelle actually back. I haven't actually personally met her in person, but just through social media. I cannot remember which projects we had stumbled upon each other, but the pantry door was one of the first ones that I saw of her. And I was like instantly like, oh my gosh, I love you. We kind of just started going back and forth in DMs. And she would kind of come to me and be like, hey, like you should stop by here. We should like do something together, or just kind of asking like how to succeed on the platform and stuff like that. So we kind of just got to chatting, and then she took off because she's incredible at making reels. Like her hooks. And it's like what Shavonne said, like she's found something to be known for, and people love it. They either love it or they hate it, but I think it's great because she handles it really well. She handles criticism really well, which is something I think like in this industry has to happen.
I don't know if I could do that. Like my audience, I love them. Like I don't have huge audiences like you, but my audience is like super like kind, and like they like, I don't know what I would do with a controversial post where people like said as much stuff as they say to her, because it takes a special individual to handle that. Like, have you, either of you, ever encountered like people being like pissed off you did something?
Yeah, like absolutely. For me, like back in 2020 when I started on TikTok, that was the worst spot for it because people were all over me about every design choice I made, or if like I shared a pot filler and people were mad about that because they're like, wow, must be nice to be rich. I was like, you can buy them off of Amazon for $50. I was like, my husband is a plumber, so maybe that's where the rich part comes, because I'm like, maybe I didn't have to hire a plumber, you know, but it took me a while. Like, so it's like on TikTok, I started to filter certain words that I didn't want to hear. And so then I can kind of pick and choose, but it's taken me a long time to grow really thick skin. And now I just kind of, I encourage it. I'm like, if you want to talk whatever about my stuff and you want to be like, share your very low opinion, that's fine. You're boosting me in the algorithm, and it's going to get to the right people that want to see it. Yeah,
it does boost. That's for sure, because people will stand up for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just like it's happened on all platforms.
It really hard some days. I find it really hard, and then some days I'll laugh about it, and then some days I'll notice like it will like hurt a little bit more. But I always say in my head, like hurt people, and that person must be like really hurting to feel the need to be offended by the color of paint on your walls, you know. And then sometimes like I've learned that it just actually spurs them on to like kind of comment back or like be like, actually no, like, you know, like defend yourself. It just makes it worse. So now from now on, I always respond the same way. And it's just like, I hope you're okay. Sending you so much love. Like, I'm so sorry that my renovation hurts your feelings. I sending you all the love in the world. Heart. And I kind of mean it. And then it's also kind of like funny, but like I mean it. Like I am sending you love, and they never know what to say for that. And another thing I do is I screenshot all the kind of funny ones, and then I use that for content as well. I'll make every once in a while throw in like a clap back at the haters. But I do like kind of scribble their names out because I am scared that like, I don't know, I'm always afraid I'm going to get in trouble or something, but someone's like, don't blank their
Or
names
someone
out,
lives nearby you and you like get poop on your doorstep or something. Yeah, like crazy
right.
people.
I don't want to be
Encourage
mean,
anyone.
fight back
Yeah.
by being, it almost is like mean to them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's just fueling the fire. And it's like,
You don't want to
that's
meet
just
their
hurtful.
bubble because actually I read this book and it's like it's an actual waste of your good energy where you could be putting that good energy to something so much more useful.
Mhm.
My mom passed away when I was pregnant with my first son, Gus. I was 6 months pregnant, and she had like a year and a half where she knew she didn't have a lot of. I actually think she thought she had less time, but she never like shared how much time the doctor gave her because she was just that kind of person. She never wanted to cause her children pain. And so she made a tub for each of us filled with like things and like post-it notes and like little letters. And she had saved this note from one of my first art competitions. And someone had written something so terrible because I won this award at this art show. Like, I don't think Brandy Hofer should have won the best artist, blah, 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 blah. And she saved it. It was like such a long time ago. And she wrote on it, dismiss with love all those who do not see beauty in the world. XO love.
Mhm.
And I always think about it and sometimes I forget that she said it, but like whenever something really hard comes up, I always like because there are really hard things that do come up in life and you meet challenging people and like you said, like there's something going on in their lives that we just don't know what they've been through, what trauma they've had in their lives. So you should dismiss with love and give them all the kindness and then move on and use your energy moving forward, right? So
Exactly. And then they're like, hope you're doing okay, sending all the love your way. And then if I'm making kind of like a reel to retaliate, I think it's a good reminder to be like, I am a human. I do have feelings. Like,
for sure.
like there is a person behind this. I'm not a website. Like you have to constantly remind people that you are an actual human. And I don't know what that is I don't know if they, especially like certain generations have a hard time with that. I think they don't realize that there's a person behind that content, right?
I did have one very like diligent hater. And he was so angry. And I remember it inspired me to do a motivational speech to like 400 women on finding your fire and using using those encounters to like be bigger and like prove them wrong. It's also fuel for your fire. Yeah, I called it find your fire. And it's great motivation. You're like, I can do this. What I do does mean something, and it means something to a ton of people. It means something to me most of all, right? So I want to hear each of your stories of like, did you go to design school? Where did you start? Because we're going to meet each other and we'll talk about that at the end and why and how. And I'm so excited / nervous, but it'll be fun. So the juicy parts for last, I guess. So Jenna, let's start with you. How did you start getting into like the evolution of your story into DIY?
So let's go back to, I don't know, how far back do we want to go?
I was born.
Yeah, I was born. 90s baby.
Where are you from?
So grew up in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, single parent family. My parents split when I was very young. So my mom worked really, really hard for us. We didn't have a whole lot growing up. She worked nights my entire life till I was about 16. But we made things work. Like we had a nutcracker that we used to open jars. We used it to unscrew screws. It was like our one go-to tool. We had no tools. So I had like no background in anything. I had nobody to kind of teach me. Growing up, I ended up going to university in Edmonton for photography and graphic design. After I kind of dropped out of bio in high school because I wanted to be a vet, but then I couldn't do because it was just so much information.
Science is hard.
Let me dissect something. And it's like, because I'm a very visual learner. Like I learn things just by looking at something. And so I ended up going into photography. I ran a business for about 11 years. And then I had my two daughters. So my oldest is now 10. She'll be 11 here soon. My middle is 9. And now I have a youngest as well, who's 6. But after my middle daughter, I went through postpartum depression. And my husband owns a few companies. And with my photography company, we were kind of a family that wasn't a family. And it's like something for me, like I loved that was one hope for my life, was to have a family that was together and to always have that value as one of our top things. And so for me, like he would go to work all day, then he'd come home and I'd immediately go out and work. And so like there was no communication, there was no time. And then I also went through postpartum depression after my second. And so I kind of just said, that's it. I'm just going to close off shop. I'm going to focus on myself. I'm going to focus on my family. And then that's what I did. And then 2020, I had my other daughter, and then 2020 happened. And my husband, because he is a contractor, he didn't get to stop work. He couldn't work from home, right? He's going into other people's homes, helping fix things, build houses, whichever the task was at the time. And so I took his honey-do list because I took a shop class in high school and I absolutely loved it. But back then, it was kind of seen as a taboo thing if you were a female in that industry. And so I went the artistic route and just avoided like anything that people could make fun of me or like give me certain stereotypes or whichever. And that backs from when I was bullied from when I was younger. So it was just one of these things I was like, nope, I can't do it. And so then in 2020, I said, he's got a honey-do list and I need to take that off his shoulders. I'm at home and I want to be able to use my hands and create a home. Because the years prior, we had moved from a 600 square foot house, which we completely renovated and flipped. Then we moved into another house, which we built, but we didn't do anything to. And then we moved into that current house that we were in with all 3 of our daughters. And I felt like I could never make my house a home because I knew we were just going to move again because my husband likes to move and build and we like to kind of try to move things around.
Is a great market to be in if you're
exactly right. And so I was like, I can't make this a home. And so finally in 2020, I was like, you know what? I'm stuck here. I'm going to do this. I'm just going to dive in and start with some projects. And honestly, the first thing that I did was make a coat rack for our front entry. And I loved it. It was a piece of cedar with some hooks on it, like nothing fancy, stuck it to the wall. I was so proud of it. And then the next one I dived in and did a whole laundry room makeover. Like I was like, I can do this. But it's great because being able to now do what I do and work from home and teach my daughters how to even do something that I wasn't able to do as a kid and give them these life skills. It's incredible. Like I love it every single day. I love being able to create. I have no design background, but as I said, like I learned by looking. The first time I built a cabinet, I went into my kitchen and just looked at how it was built and said, I can do that. Was it perfect the first one? Not so much. It was a little off square, but it just takes that practice. And as I said, I'm such a visual learner that even like my husband, he'll be like, here's how you go and use this tool. I'm like, can you just show me once? It's like, you
totally.
Don't word vomit at me because it just goes in one ear out the other. And I'm just going to look at you and be like, So, and that's just the way that I've learned is just slowly, like, I just observe what other people are doing. And I'm like, okay, I can do that, or I can try to do that, or I'm going to figure out a way to make it happen. And as I said, just giving those values to my daughters as well, so that anytime they come up to a problem, they're able to solve it. Back in 2020, again, when I was starting, I was one of these people that if something went wrong, I beat myself up so much about it because I was a perfectionist. I was like, it has to be perfect. This has to be this way. This has to be this way. And how I've grown since then is now I'm like, sweet, I made a mistake, show everybody because I want them to know that these mistakes happen and let's move on. Let's just figure this out and keep going. And I think that's such an important life skill. So that's kind of my story.
I love it.
From where I
think
am
that's quite paralyzing too, like the fear of making a mistake. I know a lot of people, they'll stop themselves from doing anything because they're so afraid of that like little
of
mistake.
not being
it just
perfect.
paralyzes
Like
people. Yeah.
like they see it on social media and I can't do that. So I'm never going to try. And perfectionism is a killer. It is like, it's debilitating. And I love what you said is like, I don't know how to do this, but I'm willing to learn and I'm willing to make mistakes. And I think more people are willing to make mistakes. We live in a better world where people would be following their passions and trying out what they love. And not only that, like trying a passion, making it work, like photography, and then pivoting in life. Like photography, I love photography. Great. I don't feel like doing it anymore. So I'm going to try this other thing. And it took me on a really great adventure. And we have a really cool podcast guest. And she totally like ran successful artist retreats all over the world, has this like beautiful, like Arizona style home, like just like a home where you'd be like, that's like my dream house, right? Like with the fire and the cactuses and the plants and the beautiful garden and the spaces. And then she's like, I'm done with those retreats. She's in her 50s. And she's like, I'm done with those. I'm going to do something else now. And she's just like, it was calling to me. And she said she's done that like several times in her life and it always works out. And I feel like we are resilient and we are capable of doing everything and we are going to make a ton of mistakes and that's okay because we are human. Okay, so Shavonne, oh, sorry, did you want to add in?
Yeah, I was gonna say like one more thing is I think like the biggest mistake in our world too with anybody, and like I think it's an important message to even the younger generation, is that when you turn 18, just because somebody asks you what do you want to be when you grow up, it doesn't have to be what you have to like need to be, right? So it's like for me, I thought I was like, I'm gonna go to New York and be this big famous photographer for celebrities. I was like, this is gonna be my life. And then I was like, no, I was
for
like,
sure.
I was like, I don't have this passion, and I also have like a terrible business sense. And I think, I don't know if Shavonne's picked up on this, but I'm like, because of the way that I grew up where we didn't have a lot of things, even in my photography world, I was like, I want to be able to give people these photos and they like this session without paying for it, because I was just like, I want to bless this family. So when that works into like what I'm doing now, it's the same thing. I'm like, man, I've been given this platform. I get to work with brands. So I can go into other people's homes and help them create the spaces. Like right now, I'm in a rental because we sold our house and we're going to be building on land, the whole cycle all over again. But it's like I've been able to go into people's homes who wouldn't otherwise be able to do these renovations on their own and be able to bless them. And that's something like I love doing. Again, terrible business. Like if I was an actual contractor, I'd probably be bankrupt right now. But I was like, I love it. I was like, if I have those means, I'm going to bless other people with it. And so it's such a cool way to like see how this platform has grown to what it is and giving me that opportunity to give back. And it just fills my heart with joy.
Yeah. And brand partnerships, you found a way to financially support that. And I think, especially with women, typically, and like data wise, is we don't ask for those opportunities. We don't ask for the financial means. We just want to give. And I've actually encountered that with certain financial support institutions and partnerships where they're like one male, he's like, why do you need money for this project? And I was like, holy moly. I'm like, well, these women aren't volunteering. Like we need financial support in order for everyone to get paid for their time, and plus the materials and the supply, all the big machines and stuff. I don't know what they're all called all the time, but all the big machines, and that's probably why we didn't get it. We need all those big machines, right?
What project was that, Brandy?
I can't say too much about it because I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, because we're doing the project. We found wonderful partners, and that's what I have to say. I have to be like,
podcast.
Yeah, right. I have to. I'm like, okay, so they're not giving, but I will find partners that will support us and are behind this project, and it's a wonderful project. So I'm so proud of it. I can say what it is. It's a community garden project. So I'm doing a mural, and then we're totally like revamping land into a big community garden. So food for our community, and everyone can pick and grow, and I'm working with other women. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, it's so I get surprised that people have that, like, you know, what do you need the money for exactly? And you're like, oh geez,
To build
okay.
it.
Right. Like to do it for number one, for our time though. Like time, like we're yeah. Anyway, that's a whole nother podcast and conversation. And Shavonne, I really want to hear your whole story on how you got into what you do, because you both do really cool, exciting projects, and it's so neat because you get to see like the mistakes and the process shots. And I think that's why DIY is so successful, is because you see all the parts, and it's so fascinating and so rewarding. Like you get the dopamine hit, you're like, ta-da, it's beautiful.
Yeah, you do get a high off of every project you complete for sure. And it kind of sends you into that. Yeah, like Jenna said, you get confidence from your one little project that you started with. It's like, wow, you know, and then you kind of snowball from there, and then you do feel like you could tackle anything, you know. I agree with that. But I didn't ever set out to do this like at all. I don't even know if I knew, you know, this kind of thing was a job. I really had not thought about it. I was in I just had Ted, and Marshall was like 2.5. And right when Ted was about 6 months old, Stuart's sister passed away, and she was exactly the same age as me. So, and she had a hard, long health struggle her whole life. And when that happens, especially to someone like the same age as you know, it makes you reflect on your life. And I know, like, I was on mat leave and I was a hairstylist, and I just kind of took hair out of school because I was like, yeah, sure, I can do that. I just knew I wanted to move out. I knew I wanted to be anywhere but at home, right? You just want to spread your wings after high school. And so anyway, after Leah passed away, I was just about to go back to work as a hairstylist, and I was like, I don't want to do it. And I remember we were at a play park with the kids, and I looked at Stuart and I was like, I don't want to do it. And he's like, then don't. And like, I thought it was pretty like crazy. I look back at it now, we had like very little money. And I just remember thinking, wow, like for him to be like, then don't do it. Like he's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, you know, I like design. I like this. So I kind of thought about like, architecture. And then thought about like, we have SciAst here in Moose Jaw in town, thought about maybe drafting, but I was like, what I really like is like design. So I found an online university that afternoon, Yorkville University. It's in Toronto. And I started taking my degree in interior design. So I started to do that. And at first I was so overwhelmed, but it kind of started to kind of knock me out of postpartum and stuff, and like lots of mental health stuff. It kind of like gave me a little bit of a spark again and confidence. And yeah, so I had this idea. I thought, oh, I'm going to post about my projects that I complete in school. And then that's like my portfolio for when like I apply to an architecture firm or something. That was my big idea. So I started posting about our projects, and then I'd start posting about our home renos. And then people kind of responded to it and liked it. Specifically, they loved Stuart when he was in it, because he's always like the comedic relief. I think it was like one of the first times I really realized people loved it is he was opening up like the top of our bathroom, and all the insulation just like fell all over Stuart's head. And I was like videotaping him because I thought it was hilarious. And he's like, stop videotaping and get over here and help me. And he was all mad and stuff. And people are like, oh my God, I didn't know Stuart could swear.
I love how you call it videotaping, because I still call it videotaping too.
Videotaping. I'm always videotaping. Anyway, and yeah, so then people like, and then I had like the vacuum, and I was like showing the vacuum like suck insulation off of him. And anyway, people like, just like my close friends and family, like really like that. They're like, more. So I kind of started posting more and more. And then it was like I was still in school. I would think about 2 years through, and it was the pandemic. And I just wanted a project that brought me joy. And I had this pantry in our house. It's like a little kind of tiny little cupboard. And I was like, what if I made it into Monica's apartment off of Friends? So I started with this ridiculous projects, but it kept snowballing, and I'm like, oh, and I had to have every detail, and then that kind of picked up, and people were sending me stuff for the closet. Like I got a ceramic turkey in the mail with the hat. Like, so people got really into it, and then I realized, oh, this makes other people happy too, and like I was so proud of this closet, and I think people responded to that because you do see like a lot of Pinterest worthy homes, and I wouldn't qualify mine as that. I think it's more like quirky, and I do what I want. We have a hobbit hole in our backyard, and so it's all been about that. And then I realized, okay, maybe I can start like supporting my family through this, but it's about finding those brands that support what you want to do and trust you, and kind of growing that relationship. And one that's really like kind of always been right, I feel like has my back, is Greenworks Tools, because they've always been like, what's next? And I come up with the most crazy things, and they're like, the crazier the better, because they know me and stuff. So that's kind of where I found myself. And I thought, I got about 2.5 years done my degree, and I thought, I think I want to do this, because like this is giving me like, I get to be at home with my kids, I get the flexibility. And so now I've just been learning. And then I met Jenna, and she's a really good teacher. And I was like, because I remember the first time I ever met Jenna, I'm like, you make money? This is like something you do to earn money? Because I like could not connect the dots.
How do you do that?
How to make it a job. I thought it was just a hobby. And I still feel like that, because like I genuinely just love doing it. So like I always feel like there's a bit of imposter syndrome there if I do score a brand deal, because I'm like, you're going to pay me for something I'm going to do anyway? Like, what do you mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to create something, and then that you're like, I don't know. There's like that kind of fight all your, I don't know if you guys have imposter syndrome, but like that kind of like.
Sure.
Oh, 100%. I'm supposed to speak
like,
at a conference in Texas, and I'm like panicking internally on this.
Yeah. Like, it's like,
I'm having nightmares.
I'm
having nightmares of me standing in the front and like not one person showing up to my my thing, and I'm like, this is cool. This is like exactly how I want to be thinking.
It's one of the most nerve-wracking. Public speaking is just like one of the worst lead ups of all time.
Oh, I hate it.
But I too, suffer from like, you know, setting your prices and like, this is it. And hopefully people, you know, pay me for it. And it's a tough thing to do, because you have to find the line between like, you both feel like it's a good partnership, right?
Mm-hmm.
But feeling worthy.
Like the same thing, like, you know, we're creating art too, and it's like some people find value in your art, some people don't. So aligning yourself with people who do find value in what you create. And then there's sometimes you go through things, I think, like you'll work with a client or a person, you'll be like, okay, we did that. Now that probably wasn't the best fit. Moving on, you learn from it. You apply that to your next thing, you know, and it's just like a constant learning process of what works and what doesn't, I find, with this job. But
and it's like, for me, like I'm an open book. Like I saw Shavonne, she had a really good blow up there. I think she's beyond like where I am at on Instagram. And I remember I signed a contract with a brand, and I said, I've worked with this brand before. You need to be charging this. I know that they pay this, and you are larger than I am, so go for it. And I think I remember Shavonne, you were like, oh, okay, I'll do it. And I think that, I think you signed on with
email and then call Jenna.
So it's like they said yes, and I was just like, okay. I was like, see, like you can. I think if I'm talking about the right brand, but I was just like, you just have to not be afraid to know your worth and your value in this industry.
Well,
and
people are too afraid to even ask, and the worst thing they can say to you is no.
Exactly.
And then you're like, okay, I'll find someone else.
Yeah.
I talk about it in my book. It's called Be Brave Days. So the days where you're feeling like extra, like. Well, and the line in my book is, the sun is shining out your ass and the birds are chirping, and you like make a list and you ask for all the things and send the emails and go for put the packages together and just press send.
And you hide under a blanket.
Yeah. And honestly, most of my Be Brave days, I like kind of forget what I've done and what I've asked for. And like 3 months later, they're like, yes. And I'm like, what? I forgot that I reached out to you. Cool. Awesome. Yeah. And then you'll get in the position where you have to start saying no because you're too busy, which is really cool. I was on it released on Monday, the Jenna Kutcher podcast, and that was one of my like Be Brave Day moments, was like putting a thing in her community and forgetting about it. And then they were like, hey, do you want to come on the podcast? I was like, yes, I will make the time. And it's so cool. So I want you to walk listeners through, like, how do you start? Because a lot of people don't know how to do that. It's like, okay, I ask who, how, when, and what. Like, how do you do that? You're like, I love this brand. I put the package together. How do you find the contact? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I'm
We have
actually
a group of girls that shares some, you find your community almost like coworkers, and then like, hey, you got the email for this brand, and back and forth, and then you're able to kind of contact through there. But at the beginning, I wouldn't have had the slightest sniff, because it's not like you can call Walmart. Do you know what I mean? They're all run by like marketing firms, and like, I don't think I had the slightest sniff until I met Jenna, to be honest. I don't know. How did you learn, Jenna? I learned from you.
Nice.
Honestly,
So
like,
that's something. Ask someone who's in the position already. How did you do this?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and that's it. It's just like in my world, like I started doing lifestyle, and I learned really, really quickly that in the lifestyle world, they like to gatekeep. There is no information sharing. Nobody wants to be a competitor. So it's like there was no information. So it's like, how can I get these contacts? So I started DMing brands, or making sure like I'm always tagging them in stories for organic, right? Because you want to get on their radar. And sometimes like you don't even have to DM them. If you just tag them enough, they're going to be like, okay, this person obviously uses our product. So how can we work with this person authentically? Or as I said, just DM and just start off and say, hey, I love your product. I'm working on this project. Is there a contact for to reach out for partnerships? Thanks. Or I look forward to your response, or whichever. So it's like, that's where I kind of got the ball started. Building our new house has kind of been like a whole new thing, because there isn't a whole lot of contacts. There's a lot of contacts, like the DIY niche is very, very open. Like everybody shares, and it's great. However, a majority of them are in the US. So there's a lot of US brands that don't work with Canadians. So I've had to like personally like dig and dig and dig and try to find, like, going on LinkedIn and just like typing into Google marketing, or like marketing marketing this brand, and just seeing if it's going to pull up an email, and then I just shoot my shot. And I'm actually working on a pitching course right now, because I love doing it. It makes like my heart race every single time I'm about to send out an email, because I'm like, okay, here we go. But I can't say like I've perfected it, but I've found ways of making brand pitching streamlined, like where brands are getting all the information that they need right off the bat, how we're going to benefit them, how we're going to do this, and how we're going to do this. And then they come back to us. And I know that one of the brands recently that Shavonne and I reached out to actually for this project, one of the responses was, she said, this is the most organized, or I can't remember the exact reading, but she was like, she was like, I have never received something so well put together and delivering the information, right? So it's just like, that's my end goal. And it's just, a lot of people will immediately go off the bat and say, oh, I'm going to pitch a brand, I'm going to send my rate card. And I'm like, don't send it right away, because it's just like, you want to kind of put the feeler out there. Is there going to be a budget for certain campaigns? Is there going to be this? So like, I am like a world of information. Like I overshare everything. I get onto rants, but that's it. It's just starting to tag brands, getting into their DMs, going onto their website, clicking the contact section and seeing, is there one for press? Is there just a general information? Like if there's just, you can't find anything, just email their info at blah, 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 whatever. And there's a good chance, like if you just ask them to redirect you to the person you're looking for, that's the route to go. Sometimes it's a win, sometimes it's not. And sometimes it just goes to die.
I've worked with too. It's been like, there's been a few like hits right off the bat, but like with the brands that I have like a really close relationship with, I feel like it's been very gradual, and it's like building that trust. So like Greenworks is one I said that I really love working with because they're so open, but the first thing they ever sent us was a lawnmower. So they sent us a lawnmower. We were like, well, this lawnmower was like, oh, my in-laws drove in from the farm just to try out this lawnmower we got. Like, it was like mind-boggling that we got sent this lawnmower. So we were like, we got to do the best reel ever with this. So we tried really hard. Then the next, it was like a couple more tools. Then, you know, and then you start showing them what you can do. And then you come in and ask for, you know, maybe a little bit of money. And then the next project, it's a bit more if your platform's grown and if your content's growing. So I think that there's something to be said to, like, that you might have to grind for a bit and put in, like, say you're just, you know, you're doing a whole reel for an area rug. And I do remember, like, the first area rug I got, and I just remember being like, I couldn't even sleep. I'd like wake up and walk into the living room and be like, oh my God, look at the air. Like, so grateful and like, wow, you know, but then, you know, show them what you got and build that relationship and show your gratitude. That's what I find. And then, you know, slowly gradually get to a point where you can be asking for, you know, the amount that you need. I don't know if I've ever come like straight out of the gate with some of the larger ones, but yeah.
The thing is, I love what you said. I want to touch on the gratitude point, and Jen Sincero talks about it in her You're a Badass at Making Money. Have either of you read that book?
I haven't.
So I had really terrible money mindset. Like, I didn't feel worthy. And that's like, if you don't feel worthy of even earning money, like, you're not going to get anywhere. And I remember like waddling around pregnant with Teddy in 2019 and like hiding Jen Sincero's like little green book under my arm. Like, oh, people can't know that I want to earn money. Like, it was such a weird shame thing, but a lot of people have it, because I also grew up with very little money and a single mom, and like, she made $23,000 a year, which I have no idea how she stretched that. I'm just like, she was thrifty and resilient and resourceful, and I feel like that kind of, you know, comes down on her kids when like, we too are that same way. But anyway, I wanted to touch on gratitude because Jen Sincero says in her book, she says, so think about it this way. You take and bake these cookies and you bring them out to the neighborhood, and a bunch of kids take them and they run away, and some of them say thank you, but this one kid sticks around and they say, oh, thank you so much. Can I help you make more cookies, or can I help you clean up? And she's like, who gets the most cookies? It's the kid who is grateful and wants to give more time and is thoughtful about the cookies, right? And I love what you said with partnerships. Like, you should value every partnership and treat them like you want more cookies. Like, you're grateful for the cookies you've got, and you want more cookies, and let's bake together. This is fun, right? And and asking for the opportunities in the first place. I don't think I've gotten like a partnership without asking, or like maybe the odd job where people have approached me, but mostly it's asking first, you know? So I think that will be like people's biggest takeaway from this conversation is like, no one's going to show up at your door being like, oh, hey, here's a job. Here's your dream.
I would say
whatever.
people think that about this industry. Like, if you're going to call it content creating or influencing and stuff, I think it looks to the outside world a bit, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes,
like,
and
the
there's
tip
a
of
lot
the
of
iceberg.
There's a lot of grind
on social.
behind.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, there's a lot of grind behind it, and yeah, I do think if you are living with a grateful heart, then, like, you know, you're going to attract the right brands that match your heart, I guess. I think, and
100%.
I think, and you're the right people too, and I don't know. Yeah, that's how I always go. But I do remember
community where you can lift each other up. I love that you all work together and you have this, because that's what Janelle started with. I'm part of this awesome community of women and DIYers. And she's like, do you want to? And I was like, yeah. I was like, yes. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing, but yeah, so quickly, because we don't have a lot of time left, but we're fine. I have other stuff to do today, but I want to keep it as efficient as possible. I want you to talk about how this particular big project happened, what sparked the idea and the inspiration for the Swift Current project on May Long weekend.
You, Jenna?
So going back to like what I said before is I love giving back. I have followed Bella's story since 2020 when I was first stumbled onto TikTok. I think a lot of it was algorithm because she is from Saskatchewan, so I think it kind of played in that's how I kind of stumbled on her stuff originally. And I've just followed her story of how she's been fighting for her life and to get this bowel transplant, and where she was given these, yes, you're going to have it, flies, and then all of a sudden finds out, no, sorry, you can't get that bowel because it's not it just won't work anymore, right? And just seeing like she had this potential, like she had this ability to be upset about it, but she kept this positive energy and this vibe and just continuing to inspire other people. And so for me, when I watched her content over and over and over, and then in August I had surgery, and then she happened to I remember because I was sitting recovering, and all of a sudden I open up my phone and I see that she's flying to go get this transplant, and I just was like bawling because I was like, yes, it's time. I was like, and we can be recovery sisters. This is great. But it's like at the time I'm like, she probably doesn't even know who I am, because out of her 7 million followers on TikTok, I was like, I'm just this little ant in the grass, right? Like you can't really see me. So I reached out to her her mom in September and just said, hey, I have a great idea. I said, I would love to bless Bella with a room renovation, but not only Bella, I would love to bless her brother Waylon as well, because it's, being a medical sibling, you get overshadowed sometimes. And it's like, I wanted to be able to just give them both these dream spaces, because they have been so focused on Bella's journey in the last 10 years that they haven't had time to really focus on their own home and like making it this space. And again, it goes to the premise of my name, like from house to home. I wanted to be able to give them, like, take their house and make it actually home, because for 10 years, their home has been the hospital, right? Like, so now that she's had her surgery, she gets to be home. And I wanted to make that a space for her that was safe and cozy and exactly what she dreamt about. So I reached out in September, heard absolutely nothing. And I was like, okay, I'm expecting this, because I'm probably, again, just getting buried in her DMs. And then in October, there was the Heart's Desire Gala in Saskatoon here, and I was one of the sponsors for it. And Kyla Kyla is Bella's mom. She was one of the guests on, she wasn't able to come down because of Bella's surgery. They were still in recovery and in Toronto. But she was she did a video call with everyone at this gala, and there was Bella, just like bubbly as can be. Oh, she was just hilarious. She was like not mocking, but she was like behind her mom, like mouthing everything her mom was saying. It's like everybody was laughing about it because it's just so cute. But so then
She's
was like,
spicy.
yeah, so I was like, I'm going to pull this trigger again. So instead of TikTok, I went to her Instagram and I messaged her there, like thinking like, okay, your Instagram's a bit smaller. You might see me, you might not. But I immediately like as she's like on the screen, I like have my phone and I'm like messaging, because I'm like, okay, I know you have your phone on you right now. And then within a day, she responded to me and she was like, I mean, in a message, she's bawling, just like amazed at how like I want to do. She's like, Bella has been watching room makeovers while in recovery. And she's like, I would love to have this. And I said, I want to be able to do this. I want to put together a team. We want to be able to come down. Let's figure out a time. And so we were like jumping between, let's come down February break. I said, can we make it work? Actually, and it was funny because Shavonne and I were joking that they did go to Disneyland for February break, I believe. So I was like, we could have done it. It would have been the perfect week. But we were like, no, let's do May, because it's like, it's warmer, it's better, it's a better time for everybody. But so then it's just kind of like snowballed. And Shavonne, I reached out to one of our group chats and I said, hey, is anybody on board to wanting to help me with this? Because this is a big project to complete 2 bedrooms in 5 days and I need a team. And so Shavonne like jumped on it and I was so excited because she's been the perfect head partner for this. And I said, okay, we need to reach out to brands and figure out if we can get a sponsor for this. We pitched a whole bunch of brands. She's been there the whole time, we've been tag teaming, being like, who are we going to talk to? Where are we going to like make this call? And like, we finally did, like, we landed co-op on this and it's a great partnership. They see the value in all of this. There's a co-op down in Swift Current who knows Bella's story too. Right. So it's just been a really, really cool,
co-op's amazing. To put together. They're one of my partners.
Yeah.
Too.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're so excited.
I'm doing a mural with them in June. And I've been partners with them for a few years on this Kindness Wins anti-bullying campaign, which we're designing the next 2025. They're great community minded supporters, which I love. And yeah, that's cool that they stepped up for this project.
Yeah.
Co-op was really a good fit because they just like, that's their values is like community, and Swift has like the most beautiful co-op, and the people that work there are just so sweet, and it suits it perfectly. So I'm really happy it worked out to be co-op.
Yeah. They actually, that was one of the times that a brand approached me. She's like, because I was still at that point of like just having my third child, and like I just started reading my money mindset books and my self-help, which is great. Money mindset are really great things to listen to and read because they empower you to have value in yourself. It's not exactly about the money like particularly, but it's like, I am worthy of more. And I remember being in that, like, I only can make paintings and that's what I do. And I just sell art. I just sell art, which is a great thing too. But that's all, like, I was very closed-minded to what it potentially could be. And I remember sitting at my desk and I was so burnt out from drawing and painting so much. I did 130 pieces in 1 year, and they were like custom pieces. And I was like, I don't want to draw faces anymore, which is a really big problem for a portrait artist. And Christine from Co-op, I was talking to her on the phone, and she's like, we love what you do with your kids and your studio and all your values and what you stand for. And we want you to be do the 2021 Kindness Wins campaign advocate for this. And I was like, what? I'm like, I'm not like, I don't love digital design. I can do it, but I'm not really like, that's not really what I do. She's like, but you can. And I was like, I can. I was like, I can. Sure, we'll give it a go. And then I was so great with helping bake the cookies. They gave me more cookies, and we're on our sixth year of working together. And now we're like doing it with the schools, and we've over 10% of our population rocks the design every year, which is insane. Like so I mean, you reach out, you find these people, and you find these partnerships, and you find support in your own community. It is possible. Everyone thinks like I have to be with like those big like Walmart or whatever, because they have all of my, like, your community in the smaller places will support you. I think they're your biggest cheerleaders and your biggest supporters. And especially with this project with Bella, like, people are stepping, or I guess they don't really know yet, right? Like, this is going to be a huge release.
Who doesn't really know?
Like everyone doesn't know what you're doing yet. Like, you haven't shared
yeah. No,
right?
we haven't
are you
been
excited?
sharing too terribly much about it, Oh yeah, we're definitely excited. I can tell specifically, like, Stuart's like, it's really meaningful to Stuart because he was a medical sibling his entire life. Leah had brain cancer. Leah had brain cancer from when she was 5. She was perfectly normal, and then brain cancer hit her at 5 years old.
Oh my
so
gosh.
He was that medical sibling. So when Jenna asked, do you want to do this? I was really excited that Waylon's involved too, because sometimes, it can be a lot. It's hard. It's hard on everyone in the family. And I've seen it firsthand, and Stuart's, got a lot of trauma from that and stuff. So I think that I can tell it means so much to him. And we're currently we finished already, but I think it was like last month, we're working on a glam station for Bella because she does her makeup tutorial. So that was like one of the projects that me and Stuart did beforehand, and like going down, picking out all the accessories and stuff. Stuart's like, oh, well, I think we should get her like a fluffy headband, and he's like, and it's really like body spray, so we should get, like, he's just like, every single detail is, I can just tell it means so much to Stuart, and I'm just really excited because he's going to be our one boy on the project.
Potentially. Yeah, unless Janelle brings her sons.
Oh yeah. And so we're really excited to do it because when you've lived it, it just hits
pulls
different,
on your heartstrings. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been there. And there wasn't like back when this happened to him, I think there was Make-A-Wish and stuff obviously for Leah, but there wasn't social media and stuff like that. And that's another part of this is like when we have hinted at this, a lot of people have jumped on and we've had a girl from Moose Jaw. She has a small business here. I want to make something. I can't be there that weekend, but I want to make something. And she made the custom Hot Wheel thing for Waylon. And everybody just wants to contribute and help, even if they can't commit to that full weekend. And it's been really cool to see. And because everyone absolutely loves Bella. She's such a sweet light and she's so cute and funny and just like, yeah, she's just so full of joy that she's really a blast to follow in so many ways. Yeah. So it'll be fun. She
Yeah, I
deserves it.
love that. And like everyone's had the experience of like hospitalization of a family member, like time stands still and you're just frozen and it's debilitating in every sense of the word. And for you to like, even when you get busy, you have like 17 loads of laundry that you have to fold. Imagine like months and months or years of that freezing of too busy to even do anything with your home. And I love that it started with making house a home.
Such a beautiful gift that Kyla has given Bella, I think, by having that social media platform. Like you can tell they both enjoy making content together and it's given them something, you can tell it's given them joy when they've been in the hospital and stuff. And like, it's just like so good that they found that tool too, because, social media wasn't a thing 15 years ago, right? So like, it's really cool to watch.
Yeah, when we were still videotaping.
We still do videotape. We'll be videotaping lots on May Long.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited. Thank you. Because I was like the last member to hop on. And so I'm very excited. I'm honored to be a part of it. And I get to do a little bit of muraling, which is fun. I love to do. And then some interacting with Waylon and Bella. I can see the excitement like everyone has because you're like, I'm gonna get them this so we can do this and like the little and hopefully they like and like it's very fun. So good for you for taking that upon yourselves and putting your time and energy into something so beautiful. I think it will impact so many people. So I don't know if I should put this out there like after I feel like it should be like right after we do it so people can like go check on the accounts and be like, oh, this is what they're doing. Oh my gosh, this is what they did. So I probably will do it then. So where can everyone So this is the future. We're talking about our future here in May, end of May. It's end of May now.
Turned out great.
Yeah, everything went swimmingly. We didn't make massive holes in the wall or something weird.
Actually,
yeah.
We are making a hole in the wall because
one of like a door or something.
Yes. So one of the last minute projects, we had a phone call with Kyla and we were like, is there anything else? And Kyla loves her cats, like absolutely loves her cats. And she's like, well, maybe something for the cats to sit on. And then in the group chat, there was like this. Well, I think Jenna was really busy the day that we were talking about this. And she's like, I just missed 70 alerts on my phone. What's going on? Oh, well, we're talking about like the cat shelf on the room, but it opens as like a cat teleporter from Waylon to Bella's room. And so Robin in the conversation goes, I don't think I've ever been this excited about cats in my life. So there will be a hole in the wall.
I love that. We have a peekaboo like spinny fence where you can like get out on to the other side. Like I love little, it's cute. It makes it more fun. Yeah. Where can everyone find where can they find you on social media so they can check out this project?
Shavonne, I felt like you go first. I think just like on our social channels, we're all going to be posting, I think in the end, we're posting a group reel. But throughout the project from May 16th, I think I'm going down on the 15th. So I'm trying to remember the day that we're actually starting. The 16th until the 20th, we're just gonna be posting like in our stories. It'll be myself at From House to Home DIY or From House to Home on TikTok. Shavonne's Once Upon a Bungalow. I think she's got the handle on both TikTok and Instagram. I'm not sure if she's planning to post on TikTok. Then we have April Justine. We will be tagging everybody, but there's April Justine, there's Prairie Style Home, Janelle, there's Robin, there's
DNA design
DNA,
in
yeah.
Uplift current.
Hey, who else am I forgetting? I know I'm forgetting so many names.
My friend Chelsea, she's not on social media, but she's always in my content and she's going to be there too. And Stuart.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it'll just be across all of our platforms.
And Brandy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I'll be doing the mural stuff and helping film content too. I also love the creative process of, putting together reels and videos and, as a creative, which we all are, I feel like, and you talked about that too. This is where I'm like, we have to end the podcast, but then I never do. I keep talking. Jenna, I loved how when like you probably use your photography skills and that sort of like every career or every self-education or self-taught thing or like even like your period in your season of life as a stay-at-home parent, like it all trickles in to who you are and what you're doing, and it helps you along the way. Like you couldn't do this unless you struggled in that season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because and we could talk about this on a whole new pod, but like being a stay-at-home parent can get really lonely and hard. And when you have that sparkle of like your passion or your focus where you can you're a stay-at-home parent, but you also sneak off to your studio at night to do this, and it's like that thing that you can hold on to it so hard because you're overtired, you're depressed, you're lonely, like it's so isolated. It can feel so isolating. And I think it's so important to have those, like people call you like, it's just, you're just doing a hobby, but you're like, no, this is like my soul. This is what, and I want to spread it as much as I can around the world. So thank you for doing that.
Like learning and growing. And to me, like, I think when I started to find something that was like sparking me other than my children, it's like releasing like the guilt that comes with it. Cause I felt so much guilt that I wasn't just like focusing solely on my children. But then when I found something that I love, I kind of realized I'm healthier. So I'm actually a better mom now. And they see me succeeding and being happy. So they want to, there's like a whole level of like, okay, this is actually benefiting the entire family when you're, when you are healthy and doing something for yourself and
exactly. It's not selfish. It's actually, your kids are seeing you joyful and thank you. You worded that so well.
I have to listen to I'm going to listen back to this and be like, oh, that didn't make sense, Shavonne. You know, do that. You're like,
But it's like you're just taking
our voiceovers. We can like re-record our voiceovers all the time when we mess up. We can't do that here.
Yeah. But it's like even just taking past experiences, like what you're saying, like with me doing photography, I now use my photography to shoot any of the final images and present them. But it's the irony of one of my classes in university was a drafting class. And I hate it. I was like, I don't like drafting. I don't like drawing. I said, this is the worst. And my mom kept joking. She was like, one day you're going to use that. I said, no, I'm doing photography. And now that's all I do. And it's like, Shavonne's got all the fancy programs. I can't figure out the programs. Like I still sketch everything out by hand. And it is like, there's like, sometimes I do a quick sketch, like a quick 3D sketch, but it's like other times, like I am like meticulously taking my ruler and drawing every single like dimension, like angle. And it's just like, my mom's like, how's that drafting class working out for you? It's like,
yeah.
So it's like, it's cool.
Don't
like
you hate
the
it when your mom is right?
I know, right? And it's like you're taking the skills that you learned and applying them to now. And I think that's incredible. And it's like, as I said, like even just teaching my girls right now how to do these skills and seeing how they're going to apply them in life. My oldest keeps saying, she's like, I'm going to be a DIYer when I grow up. And I was like, a carpenter or something. Like, more than just a DIYer, but I'm like, yes, I understand, but it's just like, just to see that spark in them. I'm like, but don't decide it right now, because what I'm teaching you now might prepare you for something else in the future. Right. And so just kind of take it and grow from it. And so
yeah, everyone's like, you must, like, your kids must feel like it's so cool to have their own studio. And I was like, I think they think it's normal. And like, I don't think they don't think I'm that cool. Like, it's just like normalized, right?
My girls had construction wear day on Friday, and they're like, Mom, where's all your stuff? I was like, I wear a t-shirt and like pants. I'm just like, I'm sorry. It's like, I got nothing fancy. They're like, but you're so cool and you're famous. I'm like, I'm not famous. I'm like, I do my job. But I was like, you guys are cute. Here's a tape measure. That's what I can give you to take to school. It's like
the tool belt that you bought for yourself that you never used.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to meet you in person. Or we already have. We've already met. We're done the project. It was, yeah.
It was lovely.
Please know that you can always reach out at Brandy Hofer Studios on Instagram anytime, and be sure to check us out on YouTube at Brandy Hofer Studios Color Me Happy, where we are now pouring a lot of free tips and a lot of fun information and every one of our podcasts on there. We also have our book, Color Me Happy, See Your Everyday Ordinary as Extraordinary, and our Color Me Happy community on Facebook, which is free to join, where we uplift members and we do member features as well as features our members on our Color Me Happy podcast. We can't wait to hear from you. Please share everything you're working on, and feel free to post in our Color Me Happy community any of your process shots or any questions you have for the group. We're happy to answer them in there as well. And we thank you so much for your time today. We sure do appreciate it. And have the most beautiful day. Thank you so much for being here. If you're looking for some time for yourself to relax, release, and unwind, Oasis has the perfect space for you. They offer yoga and spin classes of all levels. Whether you are a beginner or advanced student, Oasis thrives on accommodating all aspects of the practice. Let their serene environment and gracious staff help you in your journey of peace, healing, and strength. Sign up online at www.oasishotyogastudio.com or by downloading the Oasis Hot Yoga Studio app. Feel like yourself. You deserve it. Thank you so much to our supporters and our community partners. We could not do this podcast and outreach and projects in our community without you. That is Red Bicycle Communications. They are so amazing. They uplift in so many ways in our community. Jill started her business and she talks about it on the podcast. So Jill Kelly, check out that first episode. She's come on a few times and empowered others along the way. So she's grown her own business and her vision, and she was even featured in the Toronto Star, I believe. Is that the right newspaper? Hopefully. It was very cool. It was a very cool business feature because she was like, I'm going to try this out in my community and we'll see if it works, and if it doesn't. And obviously it's been like probably more than a decade since, and they're doing really well, and they have founded the Women in Business Awards. So I'm very proud to be a partner with them. We have Nouveau Laser and Aesthetic Center. I love them so much. They make me feel good in my own skin. It's one of my biggest touch points and what I'm most self-conscious about. And I recently have been starting to get some of my tattoos removed that I got when I was 16 and 19. So obviously I didn't think those through, but it doesn't hurt, which was very cool and very surprising. So they are the only people locally who do tattoo removal, and of course, face treatments and a whole bunch of another like laser hair removal and an array of, you can do injections and a whole bunch of stuff. So check Nouveau out. We also have BioClean Disaster Services. They're so wonderful, and their mission I love their mission statements and their values. It's to uplift community through women and children. So what happened, and I remember talking to them about this when we initially partnered, is what happens when you empower females is they live a better life, and if they have children, then they raise better children, and that is the way that to empower community and growth and I guess like challenge the poverty cycle in a way. So so I love talking to them about that, and in our initial conversations of when they became a partner, and they have helped us along the way with mural washing and a lot of different projects around the city. So I love them so much, and they do a wonderful job because I mean it's for usually like if your basement got a flood for some strange reason, like that's your most vulnerable time in your life, and they're there for you to help you through and ease any situation or help you in any way, because that is like when stuff like that happens, it's so like it's so frustrating. So they support people in that journey. And then we have Oasis and Hot Yoga Spin Studio, safe space for you to rest your mind and gain more energy and come back to yourself again. So I love it there. It's always been, it's a beautiful space. They have gorgeous plants, and it'll just refresh you and revitalize you. We're so lucky to have them in our community. Thank you so much for being here, and we will chat with you soon, my friends.